All right, Griselbrand. If you haven't seen this deck before, it's interested in putting Griselbrand into play as early as turn 1, and then you basically draw your entire deck, cheat Borborygmos into play, and then Borborygmos discards a bunch of lands out of your hand to kill your opponent that turn. So this is another deck that can win as early as turn 1, often wins somewhere in the 2 to 4 range. I love this deck so much. It's really good, no lava. Let's be real. It could be, Romeo. That's why I said maybe. But this deck also is often only an hour. So, like, if this deck is only an hour, hour and a half, we might be able to do Sultai +1. We'll see. We'll see how it ends up working out. Hazana's a really fast through the breach, so we just like draw a threat. We could like put Wurm into play, which is actually one of the things I really like about this archetype is that post board you can just like through the breach people when they board in Graveyard Hate. Like people often board in Graveyard Hate and then mulligan aggressively for it against decks like this, and then you're just like, okay, breach kill you. All right, it's the mirror. Flip the biggies. All right, if there's a Griselbrand on top of our deck, we could kill them here. There's a Griselbrand in our top 2 cards. I'm gonna top the Faithless Looting here. Yeah, Goryo's is your graveyard. Huh, so I'm gonna ditch. I'm just ditching these 2. Am I dead yet? Oh. Oh, it's not an exact mirror. Okay. So they're not playing Grishoalbrand, they're playing the Emrakul build. Sure. Okay, we're not dead. I think I missed your message, Trustee, that you're referring to. Yeah, they're playing Grixis, Grishoalbrand. Or Grixis Goryos. All right, we're dead. 7 months of flooping pigs and dying on turn 3. Love Hoaglandia. Full on tilt. What an appropriate username for playing Modern. Thanks for the 7 months. Welcome back. I appreciate it. I think I just click submit, right? Just want to be as linear as possible, I think. Did you ever test Infernal Reckoning in the sideboard of Fae? That's the exile colorless card, right? I don't think that really does anything that you're worried about. See, it just doesn't do anything, right? It has a way to get Griselbrand in the graveyard, but it like doesn't have card selection. I guess the fact that I have Disruption plus a way to get this in the bin is probably fine. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this since this has a scry. Like, I can either scry into things that draw me cards or things that... or Goryo's Vengeance. Yeah, deal. So, because there's a Faithless Looting on top, next turn I'll Brutality using the discard mode, and the following turn we can Looting, draw Goryo's Vengeance, and kill them. Yeah, I agree, Captain Harris. I've played the versions of this deck that have Emrakul in them, like my opponent's playing before, and I greatly prefer this build after playing a bunch of matches with this and the other versions. Okay, took Brutality. This Looting on top is extra good. So if we draw Goryo's plus Simian Spirit Guide, we can kill them this turn. So, like, the problem, yeah, I think it's ditch Griselbrand Shoal here. The problem with, like, trying to breach the Griselbrands, I don't have enough of their bad cards to get rid of. So I, like, leave myself stuck on mana. Do you mean 10 and 5, Chef Seth? Grand Prix are 15 matches. Fair. Sometimes they want it more than you, chat, and that's okay. We're not out of it just yet. Like, they don't have any pressure going on, so, like, we could just draw things to breach with, but not looking good for a hero here. Really want to draw, like, Night's Whispers to, like, generate some card advantage to make up for the disadvantage we've had so far. The Worldspine Wurm actually isn't a terrible draw here, because if we draw a mana source for next turn, we can actually breach the Wurm, because we can Nourishing Shoal, pitch the Wurm, splice the breach. The opponent's deck is Grixis Goryo's Vengeance. They killed us with Goryo's Vengeance Emrakul last game. Are there any 12-hour streams in the foreseeable future? Yeah, the weeks that Jacob is off of preschool, I'm gonna do 12-hour streams on Fridays, I think. So mana source, please. It's unfortunate. Yeah, this is post board, Greg. They just turned into a more interactive deck post board. Slowed themselves down. Yep. I'm just gonna move along with our lives here. When Magic stops being fun, you should stop playing. Is my golden rule of thumb. And honestly, that's the biggest reason. Like, this past weekend, I was playing at SCG Con, and like, I was sitting there dying to KCI in this classic while playing L's, and I was just like, this just really isn't fun, and I don't want to keep playing. But I was like, well, I paid $50 to play in this event, and I feel kind of obligated to continue playing. And I was like, this is just bad. Why am I sitting here playing this game feeling trapped if I'm not having fun? It's just like, paper Magic just probably isn't for me anymore. But it's not, yeah, it is. Look, no numbers. I mean, like, I was there, like, am I just gonna, but like, the actual answer is that, like, if I'm sitting there and I'm not having fun, the answer is that I just shouldn't have played, right? That's the actual answer, I think. The actual answer is that I just, like, should not have signed up for the tournament. No, I went 4-4 in the Invitational. And then I was sitting there being miserable playing in a side event on day 2. I registered for a side event on day 2. Yeah, exactly, Larry. And that hurts extra too, right? Like, the waiting is just so brutal. Like, I went 3-1 in Modern at the Invitational, so I was, like, even doing well. And I just, like, I wasn't really having a good time because, like, I played 4 matches in 5 hours, and I only spent an hour and a half of those 5 hours actually sitting at the table playing Magic, and probably 45 minutes of that hour and a half, I was shuffling. So it was just like, well, shoot. Yeah, it was not me. I actually played against the other person playing Blue-Black Pirates in round 5 or something like that. I don't know what they're doing. Because, like, basic planes means they're probably not playing burn, right? I probably want to play around Lightning Bolt if possible here. And Lightning Helix. Wow, have I really not found a shoal? Alright, I need a shoal in these next however many cards. Alright, I mean, I guess I'm pitching a Spirit Guide and casting Faithless Looting, right? Hey, Cookie Baker, thanks for the 313 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me employed here. You did, Mikey, and that's why I went to the tournament. If I'm being honest, if I hadn't taken donations to play the Invitational, I probably would have bailed at the last minute. But I am many things, but I am not a liar. So when I commit to doing something, I do it. Because that's what an adult does. Alright, did I hit a shoal? Sweet, we hit a shoal. Alright, so I'm gonna ditch Borborygmos and a land here. And then, oh, did I have enough mana to... No, I did not. I haven't hit a ritual either, huh? And it could be literally anything at this point. Just like no idea what they're doing exactly. Holy crap, I still have not hit another shoal. So I just like am dead to a bolt. Kill me, I guess. Oh, that's unreal. I haven't drawn my Manamorphose either. Like, if I'd drawn Manamorphose, we'd be okay here. Because I could just Goryo's Vengeance this one back. Yeah, I mean, I have to loot again. It's not optional. Manamorphose or shoal, please. All right, I hit a shoal. I'm not actually sure if I can still win the game. Let's find out. Because I can't Manamorphose because this draws. There's only 7 cards in my deck, so like I can't Manamorphose anymore. They just like stopped paying attention and like must have walked away from their computer. I mean, I don't, like, they probably just like walked away from the computer, right? Like, I don't think there was any malice there. They just like probably assumed they were dead and like moved on with their lives and like were just making me go through the motions. That was unfortunate for a number of reasons. I'm gonna board in these Abrades because they're probably a Chalice the Void deck. They're probably an Ensnaring Bridge deck too. I gotta cut one card here. Brad, they should have done it in response to me drawing 7 down. So here's the correct sequencing for my opponent, for people that don't understand. If they assume I know what I'm doing, I'm going to play around a lightning bolt. And if they assume I'm going to play around a lightning bolt, if possible, the first time I draw 7 to go down to 2, they should kill me in response to that Goryo's trigger, or that draw 7, because the reason is I obviously don't have a shoal because I'm putting myself to 2. I'm putting myself into range of that, because that draw 7 could draw 2 shoals. Because, like, if my draw 7 is like at all my draw is at all statistically average, and I hit 2 shoals in that 7, and they helix me in response to the first shoal, I shoal again in response to the helix and beat them. So I think they just weren't paying attention, or maybe they didn't realize that sequencing because this deck isn't super popular, so like that's not something that's going to come up a lot. But optimal sequencing, if you have the bolt there, is you should bolt me or helix me or whatever in response to the draw 7 that puts me to 2, because going to 2 there either means 1, that I'm an idiot, or if you assume that I know what I'm doing, I'm drawing for a shoal that I don't have, and I could then draw 2 shoals. And there's a very real possibility that my opponent just didn't understand that sequencing. Or maybe they just thought I was an idiot. There's a good chance I'm an idiot, right? And like, they went for it when they went for it, but definitely the way they sequenced allowed me to have a chance to beat them more so than hitting me in response to me going to 2. All right, I need to cut one more card here. It's probably Desperate Ritual. Usually Ritual's the trim. Like, you trim one Ritual a lot. You trim like 1 Ritual and like 1 green creature often. I would love to play first. This hand has lands and spells in it, but it just really doesn't do anything, right? I guess Faithless Looting does stuff. It's got a fast is through the breach. The problem is if you use 2 Spirit Guides, so like through the breach, you're pretty unlikely to be able to full combo. What are my thoughts on Throne of the God Pharaoh and Green Black Elves? What are your thoughts on Throne of the God Pharaoh and Green Black Elves? What issue does that archetype have that you're solving by playing Throne? Why is that a card Elves might be worth playing? I'll leave that on top. Can you increase the size of the cards in my hand? Not without shrinking the board. So the way the size of the cards in my hand currently are sized so everything on the board and in my hand is about equal size. So something's got to give. Magic Online is not particularly accessible for a variety of reasons, that being one of them. The deck already has reach. It has 4 copies of Shaman in the pack. We finally got him off Merfolk. That's awesome extras. I definitely think it's better than Merfolk to set a low bar. I like the person that top 8'd with the deck. I like their build quite a bit. I wasn't a fan of cutting a green source for the colorless land, but the Beast Whisperer seems sweet. I think I just bin both of these here. I'm just like looking for Goryo's Vengeance. Nobody's boarding in Leyline against your Elves deck, and if they're boarding in Leyline of Sanctity against your Elves deck, you should probably be winning anyways. KCI often isn't deterministic for a long time, Matt Man. It's one of the reasons why there's so much misery surrounding it. All right, are we good here? We're good to be done? I think we're gonna have time to get to whatever that is, fairies today. My Elves deck doesn't play white cards, Captain Harris. Yeah, my experience, Darth Taco, the black cards are really good in Standard Elves as well, though. Having access to the Assassin to make your squad unblockable, as well as Poison Tip Archer to have insulation against sweepers is very, very important. Why scoop to Chalice for 2? Because at that point, I have to draw all of my card selection is turned off because they have Chalice on 1 and Chalice on 2. My Goryo's Vengeance are no longer live draws, so like to win the game from there, I have to draw Grishoalbrand and a Through the Breach with no card selection active. So while obviously I'm not 0% to win there, I'm incredibly unlikely to play. And it's just kind of miserable sitting there drawing cards and not playing Magic, so I'm just gonna move on with my life. Yeah, the Steam Vents is the one card in the 75 I'm not sure if it's good. It's just to cast the back half of Discovery, so it's probably bad, but I want to play more games with it. You can just play another basic mountain if you want. You had a 10-turn clock, though. I did in fact have Grey Ogre in play. You are not wrong. There was definitely a Grey Ogre in play. All right. Looking for a Goryo's Vengeance and a land. I am on the play. I'm actually going to bottom this on the play because I have Temple of Malice to scry again. Just want to like do my best to dig to Goryo's Vengeance. Did I have Steam Vents in my hand? And no, that's not true, Brad. They get to pick which of the chalices they pick back up. They get to pick which of the chalices they pick back up. So like they just pick up the one-on-one. You're right. I could have given my opponent a chance to make a mistake, but all right, let's just gain 11 here real quick against Burn. Your move, Yuki boy. This is all I got. I think that's probably correct to Paris. I just like haven't had it come up and be a negative really, so your health total is pretty important in this deck though, because like your health total is like basically a way part of your combo, because like you use your hit points to like go through your deck. What are my views on Taco Bell? Taco Bell's great. As a vegetarian, you can substitute beans for meat on any Taco Bell menu items. See a lot of variety there compared to a lot of fast food places. Sure, like I don't think that matchup's like bad for our deck or anything. I just think in the position I was in, we were incredibly unlikely to win, and all of our card selection was off, so just like wasn't worth continuing. Anybody that doesn't understand why I wasn't casting my spells last game, please read the card Chalice of the Void. Thank you. I'll be here all week. How do you do at the SCG event? Discard this and this. Oh, can I bin a shoal in good conscience? I think I have to. Oh, this current game? Because I'm pretty unlikely to hit it. And I'd rather just Discovery to get deeper into my deck. Probably Jet at this point. And this is, again, like, when people ask, like, this deck's powerful, but why don't more people play it? The deck just feels bad to lose with. A lot of the games that you lose with this deck are just completely out of your control. Like, this deck is so busted when it does the thing it wants to do that you basically only lose when your deck doesn't work. So, like, it feels really bad to lose with this deck because when you lose, you basically don't do anything. Yes. If you want to feel like you have some kind of control over the matches you win and lose, this is not the deck for you. If you want to just, like, strap yourself in and take your opponent along for a ride, this is a great deck for that. So I assume we're dead here. It's like the anti-Jund. I don't think Jund... So... I feel like people often overstate how hard Jund is to play. I might have to gain 2 here if they have a Searing Blaze. Why wouldn't they kill me? Now the last one was like the last game where they helixed us. There was explanation for like why they helixed when they did. This game it was just like all right, this is something I always have to explain when we board in these matchups, so listen up. This is not a Leyline of Sanctity matchup. The Leyline of Sanctities are for the discard-based disruption decks. The card you care about out of the burn deck is Skullcrack, and in this case, a Tarkus command to stop us from gaining life. So Pact of Negation is a card mid-combo that can prevent us from dying to those things, so we can continue comboing off. I live in the middle of Illinois. I'm about 2 hours south of Chicago. Yeah, Sin's fine. Brutality on the play is pretty good. Do you ever miss the main deck Lightning Axe? Nah, not really. I think there's that many big creature decks in the format. And like the decks where like you really need Lightning Axe, you can just race them. A pile of blood moons. Thanks for the 5-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me employed here. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and bin this Pact of Negation here since I have a Brutality to check what's up. Can like spot check for Skullcrack here. Well, they can't cast that path, so I'll take the Atarka's command. So 3 shots at a copy of Goryo's Vengeance here. It's unfortunate. Maybe I'm supposed to keep the other Faithless Looting because it gives me a 1 mana way to get card selection next turn. Yeah, Portillo's is a Chicago-style fast food place. They're in a couple of places in the Midwest. And I think they have like a California and Florida locations as well. Alright, I'm gonna cast this Manamorphose, and when it doesn't find Goryo's Vengeance, we'll concede. That was a tough Grishoalbrand League, chat. And didn't win a game. Sometimes you win them all, and sometimes you don't win. You don't win so many. This is the same Griselbrand deck list we've played for a long time. Running bad doesn't change anything that I want to play in it. I like this list. The only thing I might change is this steam vents might be better as a third mountain. If you don't like losing games like we lost in that league, this isn't the deck for you. This is a deck where its draws when it's working are so good it runs most things over, and the way it loses is those ways we just lost, right? Where your deck just like doesn't function. Yeah, we went 1-4 with Narset Cannon, so confirmed worse than Narset Cannon, obviously.